Good morning. Today we are doing lesson 3.2a, which is solving two-step equations. Yesterday we learned one-step equations, where we had to get our letter or variable by itself. Today we're going to do the same with two steps. So there's a couple ways you can think of this. You can think of either first, unwrapping a present. Like we need to figure out what is inside the box. So we have to do the letter part last. So that's what this stands for, letter last. So in our equation, we would do everything that's further away from the x on that side of our line, or our equal sign. So to get rid of this plus 9, the opposite or inverse of adding would be subtracting. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Before I go too far, the other way to solve is doing order of operations, but backwards. So we would get first rid of adding and subtracting, then multiplying and dividing. So this one only had adding and subtracting, so we're going to get rid of that one step like we did yesterday. So positive 9 and negative 9 eliminate, and we're left with x equals, and 24 take away 9 should leave you with 15. If you're not sure if you did this correctly, you can always plug in x back up there. We can plug in 15 plus 9 and see if that equals 24, which it should. So now if we do the same thing with a two-step equation, we can get rid of adding and subtracting first. On the left side here, we're always working to get x by itself. So we would never subtract 24 because that's not on the same side as x. We're trying to move this over here and this over here by using our inverses. So first, we want to move whatever's further from the x. This is touching, so that's pretty close. The opposite of adding 9 again is subtracting 9. 9 minus 9 eliminates, makes 0. And we have 5x equal to, still 15, we did that over here. And now we just have 5x equals 15. Well, since these are touching, we know that's multiplied. The opposite of multiply is divide. So I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides. Now we have 5 divided by 5. 5 over 5 is just 1. 5 goes into 5 one time. So we have 1x, or just x. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. So your answer is x equals 3. Again, if you want to plug that back in to see if it works, you may. It should work. Alright, on to slide 2. I'm going to draw my line down. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Always get rid of your adding and subtracting first. This is with the x, so we're not going to get rid of that first. Like unwrapping our present, we can't jump and stick our hand right through the box to get there. We got to take our wrapping paper off. So this is really a positive 7. We need to subtract 7. Also, again, we're working backwards, getting rid of adding and subtracting first, then multiplying and dividing. So 7 minus 7 eliminates, and we have x over 6 equal to 12. And then the opposite of dividing is multiplying, so I'm going to write that over here, multiply by 6. The reason I put it up on the top here is because this is really like 6 over 1. So 6 in the numerator and the denominator cancels out. 6 over 6 is just 1. And we have 1x, or just x. And then we have 12 times 6. If we don't know what that is, you can use your multiplication table or multiply it out. Oopsies, what did I do? 12 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. So our answer should be 72. Let's move on to the next question. This one we need to be careful with our negatives. First, getting rid of adding and subtracting. This 3 is really multiplied, so we're not going to do anything with that yet. We need to get rid of this negative 7, so I'm going to add 7. 7 minus 7 eliminates. And we have a negative 3z. All I did was bring this down. And then 23 plus 7 more gives us 30. Now this is where everybody makes mistakes, you guys. This is multiplied. They are touching. We are not going to add 3. That will not help us because we don't have subtraction. We have multiplication. If you want to put the parentheses there, you can. The opposite of multiplying is dividing, so I'm going to divide by that whole number, negative 3. Divide by negative 3. When we have the same number in the numerator and denominator, they cancel out. Leave us with just one z or z. And happy and grumpy, they don't get along, so I know it's a negative. 3 goes into 30 10 times. 30 divided by negative 3 is negative 10. All right, let's flip over to the back side and try some more. This next one doesn't look like a two-step equation, but it really is, because this is 8 minus 1p. There is another number there. That's a 1. So when we get rid of our numbers, we need to go in the order of operations backwards. So first, getting rid of adding and subtracting. The 1 is really multiplied by p, so we're not going to move that yet. We need to move the 8 first. And this is a positive 8, so the opposite of adding 8 would be subtracting 8. So 36 take away 8 is going to give us 28. And then those are gone, so we just have a negative 1p left over on the right side. Now we know this is multiplied. The opposite of multiply is divide. Remember, we're not adding, it's touching, it's multiplied. So we divide by negative 1. That gives us just p. It's okay that it's on the right side, it doesn't really matter. 28 divided by 1 is still 28, but now instead of a positive, it's just a negative. So our answer is negative 28. In the middle, some people don't like these ones. It's not that bad. We have first getting rid of adding and subtracting. The 2/3 is multiplied, so we can't move that yet. So the opposite of subtracting 6 would be adding 6. Oopsies, what did I do here? Adding 6. 6 minus 6 eliminates. Rewrite what you have. 2/3 times f equal to 8. 2 plus 6 is 8. And now, to get rid of a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. Reciprocal meaning we flip the fraction. 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. Remember, this is really 8 over 1, so we're multiplying the top numbers and the bottom numbers. 3 divided by 3 is just 1. 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so we have 1f, or just f. And then on the right side, 8 times 3 is 24. But in the denominator, we have 1 times 2, which is 2. So we have 24 divided, oh my goodness, 24 divided by 2, which should give us 12. Think of what's half of 24. It should be 12. All right, next. Bigger numbers here, same type of problem. The 8 is multiplied, even though it looks like it's a negative 8, it's multiplied, so that all really goes together there. So we can't get rid of adding, or we can't get rid of that multiplication first. We have to get rid of this addition. This is really a positive 124, so I'm going to subtract 124. So we have negative 8g, and we have over here we have a positive 36 and a negative 124. They're different signs, so we're really subtracting bigger number minus the smaller number. Remember when we learned adding and subtracting, there's more negatives, and we're just counting how many more, so we subtract. So I can't subtract that. I'm going to borrow 14, take away 6 should give us 8. 11, 10, 9, 8. 11 minus 3 is 8. So we have 88. But they were more negative, so it's a negative 88. And then last, be careful again. This is really multiply, so we need to do the opposite or the inverse and divide by negative 8. 8 over 8 cancels out and leaves us with G equal to, 2 grumpies make a positive, 88 divided by 8 should give us 11. Use your multiplication table to do division if you need to. Otherwise, you can use a calculator. All right, last two. Solving, we're not going to move that 0. We need to get the x by itself. If it helps you to circle that variable, go ahead and do that. Doing the order of operations backwards, or think of unwrapping that gift. We can't dive right into the 3 yet. We got to get rid of the outside layers, your wrapping paper and your cardboard or whatever. So I'm going to subtract 9. We have 3x, and then 0 take away 9 is negative 9. And then last, the opposite of multiplying is dividing by 3. So those eliminate. 3 over 3 is just 1x, or x. Happy and grumpy don't get along. 9 divided by 3 is 3. I would like you to try this one on your own and then click play to see if you get it right. So first, getting rid of your addition and subtraction, we're really subtracting 25. Those eliminate. Now this is where I bet some people maybe made a mistake. Negatives and negatives are all negatives. We're really adding them up. Same sign, add and keep. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. We have 119 equal to a over 7. Now I bet if you did this correctly, you thought it might be wrong because we get a really big number. Because the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So we're going to multiply both sides by 7. 7 over 7, numerator and denominator cancel out. So we have 119 times 7. Use your multiplication table or multiply it out. 7 times 9 is 63. 7 times 1 is 7. Plus 6 more is 13. And 7 times 1, again, is 7. Plus 1 is 8. So you should get 833. But I made a mistake. These were all negatives. That should be a negative 119. So we do have a negative 833. If you got that right, great job. Your homework is 3.2a. If you finish, you can work on iExcel to make sure you're